Latter-day Saints are a temple building people, and this is where it starts. We build temples as the church is able to do so over the initial years, but let's put it in perspective. I was born in 1955, and when I was just a youngster, we used to memorize in primary all of the temples of the church, all 12 of them. And that's all there were. There were 12 temples. Now, today, as you're watching this, there are over 250 temples either built, in operation, announced, or under construction. I mean, we've gone from Kirtland with one in 1836 to over 250 today. And so we get to take an opportunity and look at this. I'm just always amazed by the Lord's hand in all of this. There's a really neat experience that happens with the first presidency. The temple is announced. Joseph is commanded in the church to build the temple in Section 88. And afterwards, the first presidency, Sidney Rigdon, Frederick G. Williams, and of course, Joseph as prophet, they're meeting, and let me just share this. This is from Truman Angell, who was the architect of the Salt Lake Temple and played a role in early church history. Here's what he related. He said, Frederick G. Williams, one of Joseph Smith's counselors, came into the temple, and the following dialogue took place in my presence. So he's a first-hand witness of this. Carpenter Rolfe said, Doctor, what do you think of the house? And Frederick G. Williams answered, It looks to me like the pattern precisely. Then he related the following. Joseph received the word of the Lord for him to take his two counselors, William and Rigdon, and come before the Lord, and he would show them a plan or a model. Now, elsewhere in his autobiography, Truman Angell shares the rest of the story. He says that Frederick G. Williams says this, We went upon our knees, called upon the Lord, and I just love this. This is now the 1830s, and they're about to get 21st century technology. The building, according to Frederick G. Williams, appeared within viewing distance. So if you can imagine this, they're finished praying, they look up, and there they can see the building. It sounds almost like a hologram. And he said, I being the first to discover it. Then all of us viewed it together. After we had taken a good look at the exterior, so this is in the room, they can apparently walk around, look at it, get down on their knees, check it out. Then he said, the building seemed to come right over us. And it says, and the makeup of this hall, the portion of the temple they were in when this discussion occurred, seems to coincide with what I there saw, and I love these last three words, to a minutia, meaning that you got it all right. So, the Lord's hand is so in this. Something that's kind of fun, though, is that this isn't the only time the Lord has had a direct hand in the creation of his houses. There's stories about the Salt Lake Temple. There's stories of other temples. I want to share one. We're recording this by Provo, Utah. And the Provo, Utah and Ogden, Utah temples were dedicated in 1972. I was a high school senior and got to go to that temple dedication. And the church architect at the time was a man by the name of Emil Fetzer. And now think about it. Up in all of church history, they had done, about 12 temples by then. And he's asked to do two at once. Oh, my goodness, that's staggering. And by today's standards, that's next week. But at that time, it was pretty amazing. And Brother Fetzer was very concerned about this. This story comes from Brother Richard Cowens, Professor Emeritus from BYU, his research and meetings with Brother Fetzer. And here's what he shares. He says, this request was overwhelming to him. He was talking to a fellow member of the church building committee about this significant assignment while they were flying across the Atlantic. So you can see them, they're seatmates. And he says, as he, Brother Fetzer, discussed the matter, he said he seemed to see the interior of the temple. This is the finished temple. He saw where the recommend desk was, the other facilities on the main floor, and then the ceiling rooms on the second floor. He was especially impressed with the arrangement of the celestial room and the 6 surrounding ordinance rooms on the upper floor. So when he got back to his office in Salt Lake, all he had to do was put down on paper what he had seen. And to this day, the Provo Temple remains one of the most unique floor plans, I think, of all the temples, and it was given by revelation. So it's just fun to see the Lord's hand in this. President Hinckley also
on a napkin
down in Ciudad Juarez, as he's traveling in a car, he pulls out a napkin and sketches the small temple floor plan.
Yes.
That napkin has actually been displayed many times in the church history library in Salt Lake. So the Lord's hand continues to stay in this.